Every anime fan always seemingly goes back to shonen anime. Pretty much every anime fan started off by watching a shonen series of some kind, whether you came from my era and started with one of the big three, or Dragon Ball, or if you're a newer fan and started with any one of the bigger name shows coming out now. You still probably started off with a shonen anime, and no matter how much you branch out your taste in anime, a good shonen series is something you will always go back to. Like for me, most of my favorite anime are drama or romance series, both of which appeal to me a lot, but even I, especially in the last year, can always sit down and appreciate a good shonen series. I think the big reason why we can always go back to shonen anime is the mass appeal a series like that has. Most shonen series cover a wide range of genres, ranging from battle shonen to sports series to romantic comedies and dramas, but even in those specific genres, the bigger name series always incorporate multiple genres. Battle shonens a lot of the time try to add a little bit of romance into the series to try and get us to care about some of the female cast, or they also implement drama to make us hate the main villains or feel sad for the main characters. The way that shonen series are able to seamlessly combine all of these genres gives these series a lot of mass appeal that makes you always want to return to them. But there is one more thing that I also think plays a big factor, and that is the age demographic of shonen series. Being around the age of most anime fans, and that most fans of anime are in their late teens or 20s, so it makes it a little bit easier for fans to relate to the characters on screen as they are around the same age. I want to explore a few series in this video, then try to explain why most of these series has such mass appeal. Because there are other amazing series out there like Berserk or Vinland Saga, which are only really popular among the anime community. But shonen series have an appeal even outside of the anime fandom, and you would be hard pressed, especially nowadays, to find someone who hasn't watched at least one anime, with it most likely being a shonen anime. So with that being the case, I want to explore what exactly makes shonen anime so popular and why other genres of anime haven't been able to break out and become smash hits like a lot of shonen series do. Alright, to start things off, what better place to start off than the series that everyone around my age grew up with? Naruto. Naruto is a series about a boy's journey of becoming the Hokage, the strongest ninja in his village. One of the main draws of Naruto, I feel like, is the fact that it's about ninjas, which here in the West is a really cool thing to see, but that isn't the only draw to the series. Another draw to the series is that in the beginning, all the characters are 12 years old, and they have to fight and risk their lives just to survive in their world. Naruto was a series that drew me in from an early age because I got to see a bunch of kids not much older than me fighting and dying in these intense situations, and I feel like as the series went on, that only kept getting better and better. There are a lot of good things about Naruto that would draw people in, and one of the main things is its characters. Kishimoto and Naruto are kind of known for abandoning most of its side cast in favor of its main cast, but when you're young, the intricate subtleties of characters and their growth as people doesn't really matter. We only want to see cool characters doing cool things, and Naruto is no stranger to having really cool characters that are fun to watch. The animation in the series was probably another draw to the series, from the funnily bad animation that can just give you a good laugh even in a serious moment, to the absolutely stunning animation of some of the most iconic fights in the series. It is something that would draw anyone in. Like, if you show someone who knows nothing about Naruto the Gar vs Rock Lee fight out of context, they would probably be hype as fuck, just like all of us were when the episode first came out. Let's talk about the music in this series for a second. That is something that would draw people in. It fits the feel of living in a ninja world perfectly, and is matched up to the scenes it is intended for. We get to hear some of the greatest music in anime from this series that can get the emotions flowing from just listening to the music, but then we can also get some music that is just used for a nice comedic moment every once in a while, and that contrast makes the music super good to listen to. Naruto as a series had everything going for it from the start. It had an awesome concept that was executed on well, amazing characters that to this day we all love, and some amazing animation and music to go along with what makes the original manga so good. Alright, let's get a little more modern and talk about a series that isn't quite so old, and you could say is the start of this new age of shonen anime, My Hero Academia. This series has a lot of draw to it, the major one being it's similar to Naruto and has a really cool premise. However, contrary to Naruto, the premise hits a bit closer to home, as superheroes are something all children grow up liking. So having an anime based off kids training to become heroes is going to get a lot of people watching the show. My Hero Academia knows how to take its premise and draw people into the story with how it designed its characters, making them clearly look like heroes, and it would help to bring new people into the series who may not know anything about it. This anime also has the same thing going for it that Naruto has, in that it can draw in a big crowd of people who watch anime by having characters that are more relatable to them because of their ages are very similar. The characters writing in this series is pretty good in some aspects and not so good in others. Like, for most of the male characters in this series are cool and get a lot of development, but then you get to the female characters and they are bland and flat for the most part. But as with Naruto, the kids growing up today don't really care about the small intricate stuff like that and only want to see cool characters doing cool fights, and in in that sense, My Hero Academia delivers. This series has some of the best animated fights in anime. They look super smooth, and I could definitely see myself being a kid and looking at the All Might vs Nomu fight and being hyped as fuck. Hell, I already was, but it would be even more so if I was a child. And that is in large part due to the amazing animation this series has, which just makes everything come together and feel awesome. The music is another aspect of the series that draws people in. I think we've all heard You Say Run a million times at this point, but that piece of music still hits every single time because it just has all of the emotional beats it is trying to hit. But it isn't just that song. All of My Hero Academia's soundtrack is amazing with a lot of emotional and hype songs that really get into the mood for a good show. Just like with Naruto, My Hero Academia had everything going for it from the start. I mean, everyone likes superheroes, and when they're also around the age of the target audience, it just adds more to the series. And the amazing animation helps people and makes them want to continue watching for more epic fights they get to see. Alright, and now for another modern anime, and an anime that can be largely attributed to the growing age of anime, and I think you will all know what series I'm going to talk about here. Yep, it's Demon Slayer. Okay, that's a joke, calm down. Although Demon Slayer is really popular, that isn't the series I was going to talk about. That is Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan had mass appeal even as far back as its first season, and although for a time Attack on Titan's popularity waned, it reached an all-time high during the third and fourth seasons, which is by far the most we have seen for an anime that isn't even that old. Like Dragon Ball broke the internet during the Jiren fight, but Attack on Titan constantly has sides crashing every single week, even when it's just a casual episode. I think the popularity of Attack on Titan largely came from how dark the series is. Unlike with your average shonen series, Attack on Titan gets extremely dark, and that brings in the older crowd of anime watchers that most other shonen series don't have. But at the same time, it still brings in the younger crowd because it is of course a shonen. The characters in this series are all lovable and extremely well written. Now, I haven't read the manga, so I don't know what the ending of the series is yet, but based on what I have seen, Eren is one of the best protagonists we have seen in a shonen series in a long time. But it's not just Eren. I think people became genuinely attached to these characters in a way that we haven't seen previously, to the point that you can't go on social media without being spoiled if an important character dies. Even if you avoid all anime groups, it is still find a way to get to you before you see it. The animation is also amazing and brings in so many people by showing them out of context clips like the epic Levi scene from the beginning of season 3. Looking at the animation will bring anybody in and get them intrigued into what type of show this is. Then you have the amazing soundtrack accompanying this series that has all of the emotion and hype built into it, and it fits the feel of the series perfectly. The first OP is one of the most iconic anime openings of all time for a good reason. Attack on Titan, unlike the other two anime I talked about, didn't necessarily have everything going for it from the start. Like sure, that god animation has never changed and the soundtrack has always been amazing, but the characters in the beginning, especially Eren, left much to be desired. And the more militaristic setting made this series harder to get into from the outset because unlike ninjas and superheroes, the military isn't quite so beloved. But despite everything, Attack on Titan has managed to climb its way all the way to the top of the anime world, to the point that most non-anime fans can tell where a scout symbol comes from, which is insane to think about. We always go back to shonen anime for a few major reasons. First, it reminds us of our childhood where we sat back and watched Naruto or Bleach or One Piece or whatever you grew up with on TV. Secondly, shonen series are safe to go into. A shonen series you know at the very least will be entertaining. Even if it isn't necessarily for you, you know at the very least it isn't a terrible show. Thirdly, shonen series are some of the first series that we watched as a kid, and they didn't treat us like we were idiots. These series respect the intelligence of the audience and tell a compelling story all the way to the end. Another thing is that for a lot of these series, they allow us to see a story of kids around our own age fighting for their ideals and letting us have some relatable characters that in a lot of cases we can grow alongside of. And finally, we just want to see some epic fights. We don't need the best written characters in the world or the most intricate world to explore. Sometimes watching kids around our own age beating each other up for any number of reasons is what we need to see. Shonen anime will always be the most popular genre of anime for its wide range of genres and interesting plots and stories. In shonen, there will always be a series for you, whether it be a super action heavy or maybe a more grounded character driven story. Whatever it is, there is a story in shonen that exists for you, and that is why we can always go back to shonen anime.